Hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. We made it. All right, so I just wanted to talk about some herbs. I'm doing an herbal blend for myself this morning. So I just wanted really to show you this book. So, I've heard a lot about this book on TikTok, but I've had this book for a very long time. And it's, I know you can't really see, it's kind of backwards in the film here, the video, but I'll read it to you. It's called The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, right? And then it also says The Healing Power of Plant Medicine, and it's written by Nicole Appelian, PhD, and Claude Davis. And so I always have fresh herbs available, guys. It's how I was raised, okay? My mom was an unofficial herbalist, meaning that her education was learned by her father, who was of Cuban ancestry, right? And he learned about herbs from his parents. So I just wanted to kind of go into my collection of herbs that I have. And so this is artichoke leaf. So I have this left over from a workshop that we had at Adonai last week. And then I also found Scutellaria, right? So Scutellaria is called skullcap. So this I purchased from Nature's Way in Stratford. I generally get my fresh, loose herbs from, not fresh, but dried herbs, the loose herbs, from either Nature's Way or I purchase it online from Mountain Rose Herbs. So this, I found my Scutellaria. Scutellaria is also called skullcap. And so it is a nervine, but, research shows that it does have anti-tumor and anti-cancer properties. I also have yarrow here, right? So I found some yarrow and I thought, okay, I am going to make myself an herbal blend, right? The other book that I would like to show you is this book called Herbally Yours by Penny Royal. I've had this book for a very, very long time. And so with my own herbal studies that I started years ago, I used to be the owner and the founder of an herbal, basically herbal tea company that was called Eve's Botanicals. And that was when I lived in New York. And so I happen to have a lot of, these herbal books. Some of them are in my garage now because I kind of, ran out of space for my books. I took, some of them to work where I have some of the books there, and I have some of them in my garage, guys, because I just have so many of them. But I wanted to basically read from these books and tell you what they state about yarrow, right? So I'm not going to go into all of them. I know that artichoke leaves are great for liver detoxification, but yarrow can be used as a poultice over the liver as well. But let's see what these books say about it. So yarrow in Penny Royal's book is, I'm going to read you from page 47. Right, so it kind of looks like that, right? So this is yarrow. It's a little worn, guys, and you can see it backwards, but this is YARROW. So that's yarrow. And so among the plethora of things it does in this book, it's bolded the things that it's most commonly known to work on. So bladder, it has an affinity for the bladder, for colds, for hemorrhage, right? So anywhere that there's bleeding in the body, for flu, for skin problems, and for sore throat, right? So it says yarrow is good for clearing mucus discharge from the bladder. It will produce perspiration, which is sweating, by opening the pores. And it reduces clotting time, so it is good for bleeding if used internally. It does contain steroids, and it is used in teas, and you can make a shampoo of yarrow to help I guess to stave off baldness, right? So now I'm going to read from the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, this book here, and let's see what it says about yarrow. Okay, so it says a whole lot, but edible use. You can eat the leaves raw or cooked. They are bitter and are best eaten young. The plant is very nutritious. However, I don't recommend eating a lot of it because of its blood clotting ability, right? So again, it's known to have styptic tendencies. The word styptic just basically means that it stops bleeding. So it's a styptic herb. All parts of the plants can be used medicinally. All right, so it talks a little bit more here about its internal and external use to stop bleeding. It says yarrow quickly stops bleeding by contracting the blood vessels and encouraging clotting. Yarrow contains anti-inflammatory and antibacterial compounds that ease swelling and promote healing. It also helps disinfect wounds. If it is possible, clean the wound before applying yarrow. Yarrow will quickly stop bleeding and bind any dirt or infectious material into the wound. So it's best to clean it first if possible. So that's just talking about, addressing wounds. So here are the other things that yarrow is known for, other than its styptic or, its ability to stop bleeding. So you can use yarrow for bruises, sprains, swelling, and hemorrhoids. It has antibacterial and antifungal properties. You can use it for fevers, colds, and measles. It's also indicated for menstrual problems, okay? So let's see what it says. So yarrow tea or tincture treats menstrual problems ranging from a lack of menstruation to excessive bleeding and cramping. It tones the uterine muscles after childbirth. It reduces cramping by relaxing the smooth muscles and prevents hemorrhage. It also helps to bring on menses, right? So again, this would be an herb that you would not prescribe to anyone who is pregnant, right? You can also use this because of its anti-inflammatory properties. It's used for dental pain, so you can make a little mouthwash. You can make a tea that can be used as a mouthwash if you have any issues with inflammation of the gums or your teeth, until you're able to get to a dentist, of course, right? Mastitis, which is an infection of the breast, usually occurs in women who have just given birth postpartum. And so a lot of times the milk ducts can become clogged and can cause inflammation of the breast. So making a poultice or out of the yarrow or a compress out of it and applying it over the breast, the affected breast, would be helpful. So here also it says that anxiety and relaxation, it helps with that without sedating the individual. So that might be something to look into if if you have anxious moments. Now, if anxiety is pronounced and is happening for a while, then of course you need to seek medical help. And so it goes on to talk about, recipes and how you can use yarrow. You can make a salve, you can make a tincture, you can make yarrow oil. But yarrow is amazing. And so I just thought I would share that with you. Again, this is a book that I've had for a long time, but I've seen it on TikTok now where it's becoming quite popular. And then if you are lucky enough to get your hands on Penny Royal's book, Herbally Yours, I would highly recommend it if you're starting out with your education in herbs. And I have a wonderful book, and this I inherited from my mom, called Back to Eden. And so if you're fortunate enough to get yourself a copy of the original versions of that book, that would also be amazing. So here I have my French press, and in my French press I have a mixture of some teas that I made. These are left over from my workshop. I don't even have my Adonai label on these. But I have in one of these tea tins, I have a mixture of roasted dandelion root. It has milk thistle seed, which I ground down. It has burdock root also that I pulverized, and it has so I said burdock root, milk thistle seed, roasted dandelion root, and the artichoke leaves. And so to that, because I found the yarrow, I'm going to put a little bit of yarrow into my herbal mix. So let me grab a spoon here. And I'm going to add just a half teaspoon of yarrow. And I'm just going to add that in there. And I'm also going to add, because I have it, some skullcap. So again, skullcap is a nervine, right? So it helps to calm the nervous system. Sorry that this is moving around, guys. It's one of those new phone stands that I have, and it's supposed to follow you everywhere you go, but it's turning without me wanting it to. It has a mind of its own here. Okay, so so let me add in now some little bit. Again, I'm just gonna do half a teaspoon of the Scutellaria, the skullcap, in my mixture. I also found chamomile flowers, right? I'm not going to put that in my tea, but I also found some chamomile flowers that I also purchased from Nature's Way in Stratford, Connecticut. And yay, Stratford. And so this is going to be my tea blend today, right? And that's all here in my French press. And I have my kettle on with some water, and I'm just going to add some water to that. I'm just out of, I wanted to just show you the soursop leaves. So I was gifted a whole container of soursop leaves from the tropics that someone gifted me with. And I do have these soursop leaves that I had already purchased before I was gifted the soursop leaves, and this is from Vital Vegan. So I'm not going to add any soursop leaves to this blend, but I just wanted to show you that I also kind of have that. So I'm just going to add some water from my kettle here. Okay. So I'm adding some water. You can see the steam here. I'm adding this to my French press. Okay. So I have the water in here. And so I want it to be a little concentrated, guys, so I'm not going to add a lot of water. But I'm just going to put the top here on my French press. And I'm just going to let it sit because I want my mixture to be more concentrated. So I didn't add a lot of water. So I'm just going to sit that down on my counter, and I'm just going to let that brew. And then I am going to enjoy my tea with maybe, some lemon. And yeah, I just wanted to share what I was doing this morning. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this. Again, you want to do your due diligence, right? Because herbs do have certain medicinal properties, and you have to know what you're mixing and blending together, okay? So it's good for you to go ahead and do your due diligence and study, the properties of herbs, and so that you know which herbs you can safely mix together and in what proportions as well. All right, so that is my herbal blend. Just as a reminder, what I've blended today is milk thistle seed, burdock root, artichoke leaves, roasted dandelion root. I added in a half a teaspoon of scutellarian or skullcap, and I added in a half a teaspoon of yarrow, okay? And I'm gonna enjoy that with some lemon. And so again, blessings in abundance. Happy Friday, and be sure to incorporate food as medicine every chance you get, okay? But please first make sure that you're thoroughly informed about herbs. Make sure you know the properties of the herbs that you're using and the chemical components of the herbs that you're using and what is contraindicated, so that you know how to properly blend these herbs so that they will promote your healing and will not be harmful, okay? Blessings in abundance. This is Dr. Witten of Adonai. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. It looks beautiful out. Take care.